you know, because I didn't have a strong relationship with my daughter at all. And
how old is your daughter?
My daughter is 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. And it was this year, and went to that retreat, and we did the whole self-worth, and you go and your eulogy and all that. That right there changed my world.
Yeah.
I started talking more to my daughter, and actually got invited to her wedding.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Obrempt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit.
Welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I am your host, Eric Obrempt. We are here at RoofCon again, and man, like, it just got quiet. That's fantastic. Like, usually we got fucking shit clanking everywhere and fucking bags being thrown and we had a dog barking. Where the fuck did the dog come from? I don't know. But anyway, we're here at RoofCon, and I've got a very special guest today. I'm excited to see where this conversation goes. I'd like to introduce my guest, Cory. I already forgot it. Say it again.
Cory Cullather.
Cullather. I read it and I'm like, no fucking way, that's not what it is. And like I always say it wrong. Cullather. Cory Cullather.
Perfect.
With
Scorpion.
With Scorpion.
Scorpion Marketing.
Tell people real quick, we don't do a lot of business talk, but real quick what you do.
Full digital marketing agency for home services and medical and attorneys. So
and medical.
Yep. So everything from SEO, paid advertising, website, whole gamut, anything digital.
Okay. And doctors.
Yep.
Interesting. So how do you? I didn't know that. How do you choose? Like, how did Scorpion choose those like different niches?
Yeah, so
because most people niche down very specific, right?
Yeah.
That is not.
Yeah. So we actually started in the attorney space.
Okay.
23 years ago.
Yeah.
And then he grew into the home services, and they test things out, and attorneys, you know, with the websites, and that's kind of where we went after the attorneys and into that. But it was just, how could we impact, and those were the ones that we wanted to impact. It was
so it went from lawyers to home services, or lawyers to
kind of a little bit of both, you know, but it mainly was attorneys, then home services. They did probably about, after being in business 5 years, it was strictly attorneys at the very beginning.
Okay.
And built websites. That's all they did at the very beginning.
And then went into medical.
Yep.
Medical being doctors or like?
Yeah, hospitals.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's still all three now.
Yep.
That you go after.
Yeah.
But you deal with roofing.
Just roofing is my
Got
thing.
it. And so obviously a note that I had was the why behind why roofing. So tell me a little bit about that.
So I was a contractor for 16 years.
Where?
With my father. I was an electrician.
No, but I mean where?
Oh, in Virginia.
In Virginia, okay.
And kind of, I loved my father, but I didn't want to work for my father thing. So I got out of that, got into sales. And then I got into marketing and advertising, and kind of picked up the roofing side because I saw that they needed somebody that was loud enough to help speak for them.
Yeah.
You know, and had been in their shoes, had done some of their work, and understand the industry is why I kind of picked the roofing. And they are a very misunderstood, you know, vertical, so to speak. And I like their genuality.
Yeah.
I like, you know, what they come from and their goals and some of the things and what they want to do for their local area.
Yeah.
And it connected with me.
Yeah, I actually got a couple of marketing questions because I fucking hate marketing as a general rule, right? In the traditional sense.
Right.
Right? I love branding, right? I love branding. I think when people hear the word marketing, they think of lead gen, Facebook ads, you know what I mean? Like those kind of things, like where I have a very measurable ROI.
Right.
And as a business person, I do think in ROI, right, on everything.
Absolutely.
But not on branding.
Right.
I don't. And I see branding and marketing in my mind as two different things, even though I know that they are one and the same. I know you don't do one without the other and all that kind of noise. But what do you see marketing as? Because I preach this to my people that work for me all the time. They're like, oh, I was like, hey, I got this idea. We're going to do this. We're going to go into these neighborhoods. I want to start selling this, blah, blah, blah. And then I get the question of, oh, are you gonna get leads? Are you gonna run ads in those areas? I'm like, well, maybe, but are you gonna go fucking knock doors and tell people what you do? Because the problem is that if we all fucking sit here and wait until somebody figures out they have a fucking problem, and then they tell us they have a problem, we're going to be really fucking broke.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we need to be able to identify and tell people that they have a problem, right, before they even know it, so that we can create a sense of urgency and go sell something, right? What's your take on that? Because I feel like a lot of marketing companies don't take the time to give credit to those guys that are on the doors, and they try to minimize it, right? Because we are creating that urgency,
right?
Because if we only wait for the Yellow Book ad, like we had 25 years ago, and them to open it up and be like, well, I need a roof, ain't too many motherfuckers that are gonna say, hey, I need a roof.
No, you're right. And that's one thing I think that I do differently with the industry is I don't tell you to stop knocking doors, because you may come and knock on my door and I'm cooking dinner or whatever it is. I know that you're knocking because you know that something needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
You know, but I might not be ready to talk to you.
Right.
But I believe you got to have both, so that when that person isn't willing to talk to you at the door, but then they go online because it's, oh shit, the roof is fucking leaking, let me go find somebody. Now they can remember you because they see you online. So it's important to be both.
So you believe more in the branding side?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe branding, people don't give door knocking enough credit for the branding.
Right.
You know, having the trucks out there, knocking on the doors, doing all that, because now you're bringing awareness that you know, because there's other houses in that neighborhood that I need fixed. I have something.
Right.
But I don't want to I don't want to answer the door.
Right.
Or how many people, somebody knocks on my door, I know I'm being sold something.
Right.
But I might peek out the window and I might see them, or I'll see their card. Now I'm going to go and do research and try to find them online. And if they're not online, you just lost all that work, that branding you're doing.
Yeah,
because now it's not,
1000%.
You've got to do both.
Yeah. And what I'll tell my guys too is like, hey, I'll run a bunch of branding ads in a geotagged area, so that when you do show up, they're like, oh, I swear I saw your name, must have scrolled across my feed. I think the days of, especially on like Facebook, for instance, like the days of people scrolling through and filling out a form to get a fucking bid on a roof, like, I don't know, man, I think we're past that.
I had my breakout today and we talked about the search volume for roofing contractors, roof repair is up by 24% year over year.
And we're talking like Google.
Yeah, Google, even Yahoo, Bing, and all of those, the search volume's up. It's just there's so many people that are doing it to where it's making it so competitive to where people are being pushed down and they're not getting the visits. There is a lot of revenue.
So what do we do different? I'm tired of doing the same old fucking shit every day. What do we do different? Like, let's quit talking about the same fucking SEO and the same, you know what I mean?
No,
what do we do different? Like, how can people get something out of this of like, wow, that's a great idea. Like, I didn't think of that, because everybody's shoving, in my mind, everybody's shoving the same marketing down everybody's throat.
Yeah, and that's one thing.
But I do it better.
Yeah.
Fucking do ya?
Yeah. But I think where the change needs to also come is when you're doing your SEO and your website is a lot more conversational. Google is changing everything with search. Okay. It's more using that, the Bard, the Bard, the ChatGPT, as far as longer things, like find me a roof repair company that's trustworthy and good cost or whatever. So people are starting to search that way. So now you're going to have different type of search stuff that shows up now.
Oh, okay.
Because of that. That's where you can be different. That's where your marketing company needs to be different and teaching you that. It's not just roof repair near me. There's so much more that can be done to make it more impactful.
So what do you do to do that?
More FAQs on your website.
Okay.
More stuff talking about your brand, trust your brand, more about your reviews. Okay, reviews kind of gets this weird thing, yes, you need it, but you don't need a lot. But now it's about how are you responding to your reviews. Don't just thank them. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
It's more, thanks, Eric, as we here at ABC Roofing, we strive to be the best roof repair company in Austin, Texas. Doing stuff like that. That's where marketing companies are not educating you guys.
Why not?
because they're stuck in their ways and they don't know how to make things better.
Is there any other motive that could be behind it? I mean, is the answer that they're
I
dumb?
think it's lazy
Okay.
to take that extra time to put those extra 8 words in the reply.
But they don't even fucking do it generally. They're telling somebody else to do it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's an admin that's doing
Yeah.
that anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, I tell my people all the time to do it,
Right.
but how many times do you have to tell your kid to take the trash out?
Yeah. No, I get it.
So,
I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
I'm just curious about the why behind why somebody wouldn't,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think with a lot of marketing companies, they just want the sale.
Yeah, okay.
I want the relationship.
That's fair.
You know,
Because I made a joke yesterday. I made a joke yesterday because I was walking the floor here, and I walked up to Morgan with APA, and we've known each other for a really long time. And I walk up to Morgan, and I was like, "Hey, I'm having a really hard time with my marketing, and I didn't know if you saw if there was anybody here that does that." I was like, but if you do, could you point me in their direction? Because that's the new cocaine of the 80s, right? Everybody's trying to get into it, right?
Yes.
And it's kind of a double-edged sword of, I'm just thinking of this now, but it's kind of a double-edged sword of, in most industries, roofing for instance, you advertise as, I've been in roofing for 30 years. And then that builds credibility because of the fact that I've been doing this for 30 years, and my credibility is built because of it. And they're like, well, obviously he does a good job. I mean, the guy's an expert. He's been doing it for 30 years, right?
Right.
If I have a marketing company maybe come to me and say, we've been doing this for 30 years, my first thought is, well, you're an old fuck that probably uses the yellow pages at one time. I just thought of that. I never really thought of it that way before. Yeah. But is that something that you think people run into? I mean, because you guys have been doing it for a while, right?
23 years.
Right. So I I assume you run into a wall of you have to really show people how you've changed and adapted, right? Because I would think that experience in your guys' business would be a negative almost. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. And it can and it can't.
Yeah.
You know, the plus to it is a lot of things have been tried, true, tested, and we know it works.
Right.
Now we're just sharpening that knife and trying to make it sharper.
Yeah.
You know, so it's doing those things, but also bringing in new technology. I mean, our company is always purchasing or, creating new AI, and everything to really make things better.
Yeah.
To keep up with the times. I mean, we have a new chat AI that's it's not a bot, but we saw there was a need to have.
What do you mean it's not a bot?
So it's not. It's an actual real AI where they're having a conversation. When you go on there and you say, "Hey, how much does a roof cost?" It's scanning your website and becomes informational and educational to them and speaks to them just like if it was a person. Not, okay, what's your name, number, and email? It's literally has a
I gotcha.
Yeah. So reinventing yourself in that way, but a lot of people don't.
Right.
And a lot of marketing companies are afraid to educate and do that. And that's one thing that, anybody that follows me on social media, I'm really big on trying to educate on what to look for.
Right.
I don't care if you work with me or whoever, but I want them to know who to look for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, we do that in our roofing company. I wrote a book on how to choose a contractor.
Yeah.
Right? And I tell my guys to go to the homeowner and literally say, hey, look, my boss wrote this book, but there's a checklist in the back. And if you decide not to use us, fine.
Right.
Obviously, we hope you do.
Yep.
If you don't, it's okay. But let's make sure that they check all these boxes because we did our due diligence. We've been doing this for 50 plus years. And if they don't check all these boxes, there should be a little trepidation on whether or not you should use them, because we genuinely do want our customers to have a good experience no matter what they end up doing. And if you're not my client, you're not my client, and that's fine. I'll go find another one.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. Doesn't mean we can't be friends, and you know what I mean, whatever. But the education piece is literally we have a brochure that one of our core values is education. not only for our clients, but also then for our employees,
Right.
so that they're educated, so that they can educate you, because they're an extension of everything that happens inside of the business. So I assume that you have ongoing education so that you can keep up on shit.
Yeah, and
Right?
I'm gonna be honest, I actually took a little bit of what you did, and that's what I do when I speak. Like, in my first thing is like, look, I might not be a perfect fit as a marketing company, but what I want you to know, by the end of this, you're gonna know what to ask your current marketing company.
Yeah, there you go.
Or what you're looking for, because that's what I want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Is I want you to have the right marketing and advertising,
Yeah.
strategy, whatever, for your success, and so that you can get your dreams. So
Yeah.
it's giving them checklists. You need to make sure they're doing this,
And hopefully that's me, but maybe it's not.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
So, all right, we talked about marketing for a lot. That was a lot more marketing than I
Yeah.
expected to talk about. That's fine. But one of the things that you wrote down when we were going back and forth a little bit is that you're a lot more emotional person than people think. So that's a two-part question for you, is why do you think that people don't think that you are emotional? Right?
Okay.
And B, why are you more emotional than people think?
Yeah, so I think because of my demeanor, and my wife gets on me all the time, you know, you look so serious all the time.
Ah, like that guy.
Yeah, that
like
guy
resting
there.
bitch face.
Yeah,
I've been
exactly.
told this trip I have resting bitch face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have resting, I want to kill you face, my
Yeah.
wife says.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because I came in, like,
The
I'm not
nice thing though is that people won't talk to you on planes.
Right.
It's fucking great for that.
Yeah.
Right? They will
That
not.
is a
They'll
good point.
fucking
I
leave
didn't
you
even
alone
think
on
about
planes.
it. I like.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Yeah.
For that, for sure.
Or you get the stewardess want to give you, you know, drinks so that you might loosen up because you look like you might
Yeah.
murder people.
Yeah, but
You
I
know?
get more excited about the fact that people won't talk to me on
Yeah.
planes because I just want them to shut the fuck up. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
you. But so I'm not the owner of Scorpion. So I come into the marketing industry and all that, and I'm very big on posting stuff on social media, and I'm competing against these guys that are owners, and I come off very aggressive sometimes. And that, I think that's where the stereotype that, you know, Cory's a hard ass or, you know, whatever. But when you really sit down with me and
Yeah.
work with me, I have a big heart.
Yeah.
Because I come from the construction industry and I know what you guys go through, and I take it very personal when you work with me, and I genuinely care about the industry so much
Yeah.
that I get emotional about it, you know, and sometimes that can come off as aggressive,
Sure.
you know, and but it's been a switch, you know. This year I wanted to loosen that up a little bit.
So what'd you do?
Not to plug Revolt, but Revolt.
Okay. Yeah, you can always plug Revolt.
Yeah,
here.
the self-worth
Yeah.
thing. That was my aha, and like, oh crap,
Yeah.
you know, because I didn't have a strong relationship with my daughter at all. And
How old's your daughter?
my daughter is 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. And it was this year, and went to that retreat, and we did the whole self-worth, and you go and your eulogy and all that. That right there changed my world.
Yeah.
I started talking more to my daughter, and actually got invited to her wedding, and because I didn't even think I was going to be invited this year.
Okay. So all right. So let's go a little deeper. Why weren't you talking to your daughter very much?
Because of the divorce, and well, not divorce, separation from her mom.
When was that?
27 years ago.
So she was fucking 3.
Yeah.
So what happened in those 27 years?
I mean, we would talk, but it was a lot of, and I don't want to. I'm not going to bash her mom.
No.
You know, but it was just that
No, I want people to own what they did.
Yeah, we didn't communicate, and I cared more about me.
Okay.
To be honest,
That's fair.
I mean, I was about work.
Yep.
Work.
Yep.
Me.
Yep.
And
So you
it was
prioritized you over her
100%
in that moment, or in
100%.
that large amount of time.
Yeah.
Right. And then finally, I mean, did you guys spend any time together? Or did you
Yeah,
just
I mean, it
kinda
was
separate?
like, it was very on and off. I mean, I had custody, you know, see her and all that, but it was sometimes used to punish me because of the split up. You know, she had a lot more control in it. She was a lot more stable than I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
You know, and
Okay.
it was best for her.
Gotcha.
I mean, I don't know if she would have turned out as good if I would have been more involved. I mean, she is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, but going to that retreat And watching that video of the guy that was there when he was 30, and then 4 months later, died of brain cancer. It was like, what do I want to leave behind?
Dude, that was wild as fuck. I was at the retreat that he was at. I met him.
It gives me chills every time.
I met him at that retreat. Like, we hung out at that free retreat, and he was such a good dude.
Yeah.
And when that shit came out of what happened to him, because I didn't really stay in touch with him, you know, or whatever. A few guys did, but that was the saddest fucking thing on the planet. Like,
yeah. And it what smacked me hard upside the face. Like, when we were driving to the cemetery and I saw the steeple, I started having an anxiety attack, and I didn't know why.
Yeah.
And it was because of talking about all that stuff, and then it's like seeing that. It's like, man, what if I were to go right now and run off the cliff? And this is what are they gonna remember me? He had a daughter, and that's it.
Ugh.
So I really had to work on my personal core values.
So how did you reopen the conversation with him?
I owned everything that I did. I admitted that I was wrong. I admitted that I could have been better, and I begged for her forgiveness and for us to start over. And
How long did that take?
It only took, truthfully, that's the really sad part. It didn't take long.
She was open.
She was.
Wow. Because usually that story ends with, took about 3 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we had been trying, but I didn't know my why.
Yeah.
You know?
And didn't know your part.
Yeah.
And how to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truthfully didn't know how to be a dad.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a kid raising a kid.
Right.
That just wanted to
and
be
I'm
me.
assuming it's a little different being a fucking dad when they're 30.
Yeah.
Right? Because at that point you almost have to be a friend. Because she doesn't want your fucking input.
She don't need my input.
No.
I mean, she's doing great, but it was shortly after that, and then they got engaged, and I'm like, didn't hear nothing about when the wedding was going to be, and I'm like, we're working a little bit on things.
Yeah.
And then she reached out and she was like, I'd love for you to come to the wedding. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And then we started still building. And then she asked me to walk her down the aisle. And I'm like, okay, yes. And I was like overwhelmed. And then when I get there, even her mom and I made up, and both of us walked her down the aisle.
Really?
Yeah. It was amazing.
Wow, how fucking powerful is that?
Yeah, it was huge.
That's pretty amazing, man.
Even talking about it, it's like
I kind of got goosebumps.
Yeah.
A little
so
bit.
That's why I love the roofing industry, because that's what it also brought to me.
Yeah.
It brought me my daughter back.
Yeah.
Because
people did. Yeah, I mean.
The people in it, but I've worked with HVAC people. I've worked with all of them. It's something about the roofers. And
things have changed over the years, man, like in such a good way, I think. In guys really pouring into themselves to be better and not accept what we used to be, right? And that we are business people, right? And that we are good humans, and we're not just some fucking guy that runs around with a bucket of nails and a hammer, because that's how, all of our companies were perceived for so long, right? I mean, I had a meeting yesterday or the day before, and I was like, hey man, like real quick, I'm gonna fill you in on something. Yeah, I own a roofing company, and when I was younger, I roofed. But I'll tell you what, I'm not a fucking roofer. Like, I'm a businessman, and we're gonna sit down and make a fucking deal.
Right.
That's what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna produce a shitload of widgets so we can all make a shitload of money, and then we can give back to people that we care about.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna fucking do. I'm a businessman. People started learning that, I think, in this space. Like, we need to learn how to do business. We don't need to learn more roofing.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
We need to learn business, because I think that's what was missing in this space. With that, though, comes you only become better at business when you become better at personal growth. Right?
100%.
There's a direct correlation. Reggie said this, Brock, but there's a direct correlation between personal growth and business growth. But there is not an inverse relationship between business growth and personal growth. They aren't They don't work back and forth.
Right, yeah, because I will say this, you know, going to Revolt and the whole self-worth before net worth, I never understood that until really starting to go. And I mean, I've been to every Revolt since November last year.
Yeah.
And how much it's helped me in my personal, but also in my business, you know, with what I do. I mean, I've had one of the greatest years in my entire life.
That's awesome.
And it all comes because I found out my why.
Yeah.
And why was my why, and then why, and kept digging into.
Yeah, that's a great exercise, yeah.
Yeah, we did it, you know, it was huge, where my why is this, okay, why is that, okay, and then and that's where that aha and all of that, it was crazy.
I love that. I love that, man. So at the end of all these episodes, I always know that there's something that I missed, that the guest had a burning desire to make sure that got brought up, or that you know, like you had something on your heart that we want the audience to be able to take away. And I want to give you the opportunity and give you the floor back, because whatever it is, it's like I said, that's on your heart, burning desire, whatever it is, I want you to make sure that the audience leaves with that. So is there anything that you have that I didn't cover, or you wanted to dig into a little bit deeper before we close?
No, I mean, I think you kind of got me when you got me to talk about my why and my daughter. The biggest thing that I hope that anybody can take from this is it's never too late, but you really got to dig into your why to find out what could be missing.
Right.
You know, but I mean, my daughter was 30, you know, and we mended this year.
Right.
So it was never too late. A lot of people say, man, it's too late. No, it's too late because you're telling yourself.
Right. I think we've said this in the last 4 interviews. Something like that came up, and it goes back to the old analogy. When was the best time to plant a tree? 50 years ago. When's the next best time? Now.
So anybody take anything from this is really dig into your why and see if there's anything that you're missing, and go after it.
And go get it.
Go the fuck after it as hard as you can, and don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you to stop.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I love your shows. Be authentic, get the fuck out. It's like that's for everything.
Yeah.
You know, find out your why.
And own your shit.
Own it.
Because what happened when you owned your shit? You got your daughter back.
Yeah.
Because you owned your shit.
Yeah.
You didn't worry about your ex's shit.
Right.
It's irrelevant. Right. All that mattered was whatever was yours that you had to own and sweep up. So be authentic, own your shit, and watch how things come back.
100%.
Which is amazing. Cory, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. This was a lot of fun. Guys, I know you got something out of that. We got deep in there. Remember, I don't have fucking sponsors. So Zyn, for all of your nicotine needs. Cinnamon is my favorite. We mix it up and we have a little citrus. I don't know. I've said this in like the last 9 episodes, so maybe I'll fucking throw some wintergreen in there next time. I don't know. I fucking hate wintergreen, but maybe I'll do it just to see what happens and just to get that little surprise. So Zyn, for all of your nicotine needs. Zyn, we need a fucking sponsor. But since we don't have any sponsors, I'm gonna need you guys to share this. I need you to fucking share this shit so it can get to as many people, so that we can create more value for more humans, and they can learn more things and they can get help. So please share, subscribe, like. I don't care if you comment and say, go fuck yourself, Eric. That works too. So please do that. And remember, everybody, be authentic or get the fuck out.
Be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.